The wind howled like a wild beast across the snowy plains of Creona, a frozen planet far from Earth. The ground was covered in white ice, and the sky above was gray and heavy. It was a lonely place, cold and silent. But today, something was different. Something was crying. Leo, a human scout, was walking alone through the snow. He wore thick armor and a heating suit, but the cold still bit through. He was sent to this part of the planet to check for lost cargo, maybe find something useful. Most of the time, it was boring work. But as he walked between two frozen cliffs, he heard a sound. It was small, soft, almost lost in the wind. He stopped. "What was that?" he whispered. It came again, a high-pitched whimper like a child crying. Leo looked around. No human should be here. His helmet sensors didn't show anyone nearby, but he trusted his ears. He moved quickly, following the sound, his boots crunching, deep into the snow. Behind a pile of sharp ice rocks half buried in white powder, he saw it. A small shape, still, weak. Leo knelt down. His eyes widened. It was a tiny alien child, his skin a soft blue color, his body trembling. Blood, dark and thick, was dripping from a wound on the boy's shoulder. His clothes were torn. One arm was curled tight around his body. His eyes were wide open, filled with fear and pain. Leo felt something heavy in his chest. The boy looked no older than 5 human years. His legs were bare and bruised, his fingers turning purple from the cold. His face had soft features, but his ears were small and pointy, clearly not human. Still, Leo didn't hesitate. He knelt beside the boy and said gently, "Hey, I got you." The boy blinked, too weak to speak. Leo opened his coat and lifted the child into his arms. The little alien was lighter than he expected, like he hadn't eaten in days. The boy's head rested against Leo's chest. "Hang on, buddy. You're not dying here. Not like this." Leo turned and walked as fast as he could, shielding the boy from the icy wind with his body. His outpost was not far, just 2 hills away. The snow blew harder now, as if the storm didn't want them to escape. Inside the outpost, the warmth was a welcome change. The small building had metal walls, a few heaters, and a medical table. Leo rushed inside, placed the boy gently on the table, and turned on the lights. "Computer," he said. "Analyze this species. Start healing process." The medical scanner beeped and moved over the alien child's body. Species, unknown, humanoid structure, vital signs, critical, blood loss detected, risk of hypothermia, 87%. "Just fix him," Leo said. The scanner began working. Small tools came out of the sides. They cleaned the wound, stopped the bleeding, and started healing the tissue with biogel. The boy didn't move much, but his eyes watched Leo, full of confusion and fear. Leo knelt beside him. Again. "You're safe now," he said softly. "I'm Leo. I'm human. I'm here to help." The boy didn't reply. His lips were cracked. His breathing was slow. Leo stood up, grabbed a warm blanket, and wrapped it around the child. Then he made a simple soup and placed a small bowl near the table. The boy didn't eat, but Leo wasn't worried. Not yet. The body needed time to rest. He sat near the heater and kept watch. Hours passed. Outside, the snowstorm roared. But inside the small outpost, it was quiet. Leo looked at the boy again. He was still breathing. The color had returned to his face. Then, just for a second, the boy moved his lips. Leo walked over quickly. "What is it?" he asked gently. The boy whispered something. It was not English, but the translator implant in Leo's ear worked hard. "Rilu," the voice translated. "Your name is Rilu?" Leo asked. The boy blinked once. Leo smiled. "Nice to meet you, Rilu. You're strong, little guy." The boy's small hand reached out, slowly, and touched Leo's sleeve. It was a quiet, "Thank you." Leo didn't say anything. He just placed his hand gently over Rilu's. That night, Leo stayed awake. He had many questions. Who was Rilu? Why was he left in the snow? Where did he come from? Why did no one come looking for him? The boy had cuts and bruises, some old, some fresh. It looked like someone had hurt him before. Leo didn't like that thought. He went to his computer and checked for nearby ships, wrecks, or signals. He found something odd, a crash site about 20 kilometers away. It had alien markings. The signal was weak, but it was there. Could that be where Rilu came from, he asked himself. Leo looked at the sleeping boy. He looked peaceful now. No child should be thrown out like trash. Not on a frozen world. Not anywhere. Leo made a decision. Tomorrow, he would check the crash site. The next morning, Rilu was awake. He sat up slowly, still weak but better. Leo brought him soft food again, warm rice with broth. This time, Rilu ate. The boy looked at Leo with quiet eyes. He didn't smile, but he didn't look afraid anymore. Leo sat beside him and talked, keeping his voice calm. You're going to be okay, Rilu. I'll protect you. No one will hurt you. Again. Rilu didn't answer, but he nodded once. Leo smiled and ruffled the boy's short hair. He didn't know why or how, but he felt something deep inside. He had found something in the snow. No, someone, and he wasn't going to let him go. The cold outside was still strong, but inside Leo's small outpost it was calm and warm. Rilu, the tiny alien boy, sat quietly on the bed with a soft blanket around him. His skin had more color now. His wounds were healing. His breathing was steady. Leo checked the heater, then looked at Rilu again. The boy had not said much since he spoke his name, but he was watching Leo, studying his every move, like a wild animal unsure if it was safe. Leo smiled gently. You're doing better. Today. Rilu didn't speak, but he gave a small nod. Leo placed a tray of food on the table. Simple broth, soft bread, and a cup of warm water. He pointed to the food and then stepped back. It's yours. Eat as much as you want. Rilu moved slowly, picked up the bread and began eating. Small bites. Careful and quiet. Leo sat down near the wall and spoke softly. You don't have to be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you. I don't know what happened out there, but I know one thing. You didn't deserve to be left like that. Rilu paused. His eyes lowered for a moment. Then he whispered a word in his own language. The translator in Leo's ear buzzed softly. Throne. Leo frowned. Throne, he repeated. The boy nodded. He pointed to his shoulder where the wound had been. Then he pointed up as if showing a ship in the sky. Leo understood. Rilu was thrown out of a ship, not by accident, on purpose. He clenched his fists. Who did that to you, Rilu? Rilu looked down and stayed quiet. Leo didn't push him. He stood up and opened a small locker. Inside were extra clothes, spare human shirts and pants. He found the softest ones and walked back. These might be a bit big, but they're clean and warm. Want to try them on? Rilu took the clothes slowly. He looked at Leo with curious eyes. Leo turned away to give the boy privacy. After a few minutes, he heard a soft voice. Thank you. Leo turned back. Rilu was now wearing the shirt and pants. They were loose, but they fit well enough. His blue skin looked brighter now, and his small frame didn't seem as fragile. Leo smiled. You're welcome. Later that day, Leo went to work on his computer. He scanned again for crash signals. The same one from the day before was still there, 20 kilometers away. The signal was weak, but the ship had alien markings. He guessed it had crashed within the last few days. He saved the coordinates. He didn't tell Rilu yet, not until he was sure. That night, Rilu slept better. He curled up on the soft bed, holding a small pillow close. Leo sat near the heater, watching over him like a quiet guard. He couldn't stop thinking. Why would someone throw out a child? Why leave him on a planet like this knowing he might die? Leo had seen war. He had seen violence between species. But this was cold, heartless, and Rilu was just a kid. The next morning, Leo made a plan. "I'm going out for a few hours," he told Rilu. "There's something I need to check. I'll leave a comm link here. If you need anything, just press the red button. I'll come back fast." Rilu looked worried. He didn't want Leo to leave. But Leo knelt down and placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "You'll be safe here. The doors are locked. The cameras are on. No one can get in." Rilu nodded slowly. Leo picked up his gear and stepped outside. The wind was calmer today, the sky clearer. He moved fast, following the scanner toward the crash site. It took him over 2 hours to reach it. The crashed ship was small, more like a drop pod. It had burned marks on the outside and a long trail in the snow behind it. The doors were broken open. Leo stepped inside. The air smelled like smoke and oil. The lights were dead. He found alien crates, torn blankets, and small supplies. But what caught his eye was the back area, dark red stains on the wall, and a small nameplate. He scanned it. Rilu Tin, age class 1, genetic type, rejected. Leo's eyes narrowed. Rejected? He opened the nearby crate. Inside were documents mostly in an alien script. The translator buzzed again. Experiment Group 17. Failed. Dispose. Leo stood there for a moment, silent. It was clear now. This was no accident. Rilu was part of some test or project, and when they didn't like the result, they threw him out like garbage. His hands tightened around the papers. "Monsters," he muttered. He took photos of everything and packed the documents in his bag. Then he left the broken ship behind and rushed back to the outpost. When Leo returned, Rilu was sitting near the window, waiting. His face lit up when he saw Leo walk in. Leo smiled. "Told you I'd come back." He sat down and showed Rilu the bag. "I found your ship, or what's left of it." Rilu's face went pale. He looked away, but Leo placed a hand gently on his back. "They used you, didn't they?" he asked softly. Rilu nodded, tears forming in his eyes. Leo didn't ask more. He didn't need to. He already knew. "You don't have to go back," Leo said. "You're not a project. You're not a number. You're Rilu. You're a child, and you deserve better." Rilu looked up at him. "Can I stay with you?" Leo was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "Yes, as long as you want." Rilu hugged him. It was small and gentle, but it was real. Leo wrapped his arms around the boy and held him tight. That night, the outpost felt like home for the first time. Leo looked at the stars through the small window, holding a warm drink in his hands. He had come to this planet for work. He never thought he'd find a child. He never thought he'd become someone's protector. But life was strange like that, and from now on, he wouldn't let Rilu face the cold world alone again. The days passed quietly on the frozen world. Snow still fell and cold winds still blew, but inside Leo's small outpost, a different kind of warmth had grown. Rilu was stronger now. He smiled more, talked a little, and followed Leo like a shadow. Leo taught him simple things: how to use a spoon, how to speak more English, how to read small words. Rilu learned fast, like his mind was hungry for new things. Every time he smiled, it gave Leo hope. A child who had been thrown away was now laughing again. But peace doesn't last forever. One morning, Leo sat at his console, running the usual checks. He looked over the scanners and paused. Something didn't look right. Movement. Far away, near the mountain ridge, heat signals were moving. 6, maybe 7 figures. They weren't animals. They moved with purpose, in formation. Leo stared at the screen, frowning. That's not a patrol, and that's not random. He zoomed in on one of the blurry images. The shapes were tall, armored, and carried something on their backs. Weapons. Rilu came up behind him, holding a small toy Leo had built from scrap. "What is it?" he asked. Leo turned off the screen quickly. "Nothing, just checking the weather." Rilu didn't look convinced, but he said nothing. After Rilu went to sleep, Leo dug deeper. He scanned again. this time looking for ship traces. In orbit, he found one, a cloaked alien vessel, not far from the planet. Quiet, but active. Its signal matched the same tech used in the crashed pod, the same kind that had left Rilu behind. Leo sat back in his chair and took a deep breath. "They're back," he said quietly. He didn't know how they found them. Maybe they tracked the old signal from the crash. Maybe they picked up his scans. Either way, it didn't matter. What mattered was that they were coming, and they wouldn't come to help. They were coming to finish what they started. The next day, Leo didn't let Rilu out of his sight. He made excuses, told him they were playing a stay-inside game. But Rilu was smart. He felt the tension. He watched Leo's face carefully. "At lunch?" Rilu finally asked. "Are they coming for me?" Leo stopped moving. He looked at the boy and nodded slowly. "I think so." Rilu looked down. His small hands trembled a little. "Will they hurt you too?" Leo walked over and knelt beside him. "Not if I stop them first." Rilu looked up at him with wide eyes. "Promise?" Leo held out his hand. "I promise." The boy placed his small hand in Leo's. That night, Leo got to work. He set up traps outside the outpost, hidden sensors, alarm drones, and small charges buried in the snow. He checked his weapons, a rifle, a stun baton, and a few old plasma. Grenades. Not much, but it would have to be enough. He reprogrammed the door to lock from the inside and gave Rilu a small panic button. "If anything happens, you press this and hide under the floor panel. Remember where I showed you?" Rilu nodded. He was scared, but he didn't cry. He was trying to be brave, just like Leo. Leo smiled and ruffled the boy's hair. "Good, you're strong." The next morning, the warning alarm beeped. They were here. Leo looked at the screen. 7 alien soldiers, tall, armored in dark metal. Their helmets had red visors and their weapons were charged. They were moving fast, coming straight toward the outpost. Rilu stood behind Leo, frozen with fear. Leo picked him up and carried him to the hidden panel. "You stay here. Don't come out until I call you. No matter what." Rilu grabbed his sleeve. "Don't leave me." Leo hugged him tight. "I'm not leaving. I'm protecting you." He placed Rilu under the floor panel, closed the cover, and locked it from the outside. Then he turned toward the door and waited. The first knock came like thunder. A deep voice spoke through the speaker. "Human. You have something that belongs to us. Open the door and we will not harm you." Leo didn't answer. The voice came again. "The child is our property. Return him, and we will spare your life." Leo pressed the comm button. "He's not your property. He's a child. And he's staying with me." There was silence. Then, boom. The door shook from the first blast. Leo held his weapon tight. The traps were ready. The sensors beeped. He waited. Another blast came. But the door held. Leo activated the outside defenses. Drones flew up from the snow and began firing. Small explosions shook the ground. Through the cameras, Leo saw 2 of the aliens fall. The rest took cover. He grinned. "Didn't expect that, did you?" But the aliens were trained. They regrouped quickly and used energy shields to block the drones. Leo backed away from the door and took cover behind a wall. The final blast came. The door broke open, sparks flying. 3 aliens rushed in. Leo fired first, 2 shots to the lead soldier. The alien stumbled but kept coming. He dodged and rolled, firing back. A plasma bolt hit the wall next to Leo. Leo threw a grenade. Boom! The room shook. Smoke filled the space. When the smoke cleared, Leo saw 1 alien down, another wounded. The third one came at him with a blade. Leo grabbed his stun baton and fought. The 2 clashed hard, metal on metal. Leo took a cut to the arm but struck the alien in the chest with the baton. Sparks flew. The alien dropped. Leo stood over him, breathing hard. The last alien limped outside, bleeding. Leo raised his weapon. "Leave, now, or you won't walk away." The alien looked at him, then turned and disappeared into the snow. It was over, for now. Leo sealed the broken door as best he could, then rushed to the floor panel. He opened it. Rilu was curled up, eyes wide and scared. Leo reached down and pulled him into his arms. "It's okay. They're gone." Rilu clung to him tightly, his small body shaking. "You came back," he whispered. Leo hugged him tighter. "Always." That night, Leo sent a message to Earth Command. Alien threat neutralized. Unknown child rescued from experiment group. Request extraction. Immediate. He attached the ship records and the crash data. Then he held Rilu in his arms and watched the stars again. The danger was not over. But one thing was clear now. Rilu wasn't alone anymore. And as long as Leo was alive, no one would ever hurt him again. The quiet hum of the outpost was broken by a sudden beep from Leo's communicator. The message was clear. "Extraction team will arrive in 48 hours. Hold position." Leo looked at Rilu, who was sitting on the floor playing with a small piece of metal he had found outside. The boy's face was brighter than before, but the fear in his eyes had not left completely. 48 hours, Leo said softly. "We need to be ready." Rilu nodded. He looked up at Leo and smiled a little. "Ready." Leo spent the next few hours organizing supplies. He packed food, medical kits, weapons, and extra clothes. He also double-checked the traps and alarms around the outpost. Everything had to be perfect. Rilu watched, fascinated. "Can I help?" Leo smiled. "Sure, here, hold this." He handed Rilu a small toolkit. The boy's small hands worked carefully, trying to follow Leo's instructions. Together they fixed the sensors and cleaned the windows. "This is good," Leo said. "You're learning fast." Rilu looked proud. That night, Leo sat by the heater with a datapad. He reviewed the information from the crashed ship again. Something didn't add up. The files showed that Rilu was part of a group of children, test subjects. Some were healthy, but others were marked as failed and ordered to be disposed of. Leo's jaw tightened. Why would they do this to children? Rilu was listening nearby. He looked down at his hands. Leo asked gently, "Do you remember anything before the crash?" Rilu's eyes filled with tears. "They said I was weak. I tried to run. They caught me. Then, thrown." Leo reached out. "It's not your fault. You're brave." Rilu nodded but stayed silent. The next morning, Leo took Rilu outside for fresh air. The cold bit at their faces, but the sun was bright. Leo pointed to the sky. "The rescue ship will come from there." Rilu looked up, eyes wide. "Will they save me?" Leo smiled. "Yes, they're coming for you." Suddenly the ground shook slightly. Leo tensed. A small drone appeared, hovering near the outpost. Leo grabbed his rifle. "Stay inside." The drone was strange. It was small, black, with a red light blinking on its side. It circled the outpost slowly, then flew away. Leo frowned. "They're watching." Rilu clung to him. "Will they come back?" "Maybe," Leo said. "But we'll be ready." That evening, Leo sat with Rilu by the fire. He told stories about Earth, about big cities, tall trees, and blue oceans. Rilu listened closely. His small face lit up with wonder. "Earth sounds nice," Rilu said softly. "It is," Leo said. "One day you'll see it." Rilu smiled faintly. "I want to go home." Leo's heart ached. "I'll help you find your real home. But first, we survive." The next day, the outpost's alarms beeped loudly. Leo rushed to the control panel. More alien ships had arrived in orbit. This time bigger, faster, ready for battle. Leo's fingers moved quickly across the controls. "We have company." Rilu watched nervously. Leo activated the emergency protocols. The outpost shields powered up, glowing faint blue. "They want to take you back," Leo said firmly. "But we won't let that happen." The alien ship sent a transmission. A cold voice spoke. "Return the child or face destruction." Leo replied, "You lost the right to claim him. He is safe here." The hours that followed were tense. Leo prepared defenses, checked weapons, and stayed alert. Rilu helped where he could. carrying small supplies and watching the cameras. When the ships began to land, Leo knew the fight was coming, but he also knew this wasn't just a battle for one boy. It was a fight for hope, for kindness, for the truth that every life mattered. As the first soldiers stepped off the ships, Leo stood ready. Beside him, Rilu was no longer just a scared child. He was a symbol of courage, and together they would face whatever came. The sun had barely risen when the alien ships began to land near Leo's outpost. Their engines roared, shaking the frozen ground beneath the snow. Tall, dark figures poured out, their armor glinting under the cold morning light. Leo stood at the entrance, Rilu close by his side. "I'm ready," Leo whispered, gripping his rifle tightly. Rilu nodded, holding a small metal toy tightly in his hand. Though he was small, there was a spark in his eyes, a spark that said he would not be taken back without a fight. The alien soldiers approached cautiously, their leader stepping forward. He was taller than the others, with a helmet that had a sharp, glowing red visor. His voice was cold but steady. "You have something that belongs to us. Return the child, or we will destroy this outpost and all within it." Leo stepped forward. "Rilu is not your property. He is a child, and he has a right to live free. I won't let you take him." The leader laughed, a harsh sound. "You are just one human. You cannot stop us." Leo's eyes narrowed. "Maybe, but humans never give up." Suddenly the air was filled with the crackle of energy weapons. Leo ducked behind a crate as blaster fire lit up the snowy ground. Rilu scrambled to follow, hiding behind a stack of supplies. Leo returned fire, aiming carefully. He took down one soldier after another, using every skill he had learned during his years on this frozen planet. The outpost defenses kicked in, sending bursts of electricity that slowed the attackers. Rilu watched, wide-eyed but determined. He remembered Leo's promise. He would protect him, no matter what. Amid the chaos, Leo heard a cry from behind him. One of the alien soldiers had found a way around and was heading straight for Rilu. Without hesitation, Leo ran to shield the boy. The soldier swung a metal baton, but Leo blocked it with his rifle. They struggled, each trying to gain the upper hand. Leo saw his chance and struck the soldier's wrist, causing the weapon to drop. The soldier snarled but retreated, disappearing into the snowy fog. The fight continued for hours. The alien soldiers were strong and trained, but Leo's knowledge of the terrain and his fierce determination gave him the advantage. Eventually, the last of the soldiers retreated to their ships. Their leader looked furious but nodded to his troops. "We will return. The child belongs to us." Leo watched the ships lift off, leaving behind a trail of smoke and frozen footprints. When the dust settled, Leo walked over to Rilu. The boy was shaking but unharmed. "You were very brave," Leo said, kneeling beside him. "You didn't give up." Rilu smiled weakly. "I'm not afraid anymore." Leo hugged him tightly. "Good, because your journey is just beginning." Shortly after, the rescue ship arrived in orbit, shining bright against the dark sky. Leo sent a signal and watched as the ship descended toward the outpost. From the ship, a team of humans arrived, strong and ready. They carried medical supplies and technology far beyond what Leo had. Rilu's eyes grew wide as he saw the new people. He felt safe now, surrounded by humans who cared. Leo introduced Rilu to the team leader, Commander Harris. "We've been tracking the aliens' experiments for years," Harris said. "You did well to keep the boy safe." Leo nodded. "They came back for him. We fought them off." Harris looked serious. "They won't stop. We need to get him to Earth where he can be safe." Rilu looked at Leo. "Will you come too?" Leo smiled. "I wouldn't leave you now." As they prepared to leave the frozen world, Leo held Rilu's hand tightly. "Ready for a new home?" Rilu nodded eagerly. The ship lifted off, leaving behind the cold snow and danger. For the first time, Rilu felt hope, not just for survival but for a future where he belonged.